Football Show with Burger King. Watch live at 5 p.m. weekdays on YouTube. Join the conversation on 0808 17 17 700. Talking Scottish football first.
Good evening and thank you for making the switch. So many people tuned into the Go Radio Football Show with Burger King on this whopper Wednesday. It's Scottish Cup action tonight, and Andy Walker, you were there at the league game, Motherwell Aberdeen at the weekend, and tonight Aberdeen, the cup holders, against Motherwell. You're not going to make it to Pittodrie, but can Motherwell do it 2 in a row?
I fancy Motherwell. I fancied them at the weekend, and I know the game finished 2-0. It was, I think, a more accurate reflection of the game was maybe 4-5-1 in favour of Motherwell. They were so much on top. I fancy them tonight, even allowing for the fact that they're going to the home of the Scottish Cup holders. I think they'll do it.
Jamie, Andy's a former Motherwell player, as are you. Close to your heart. Do you think the Well can do it twice in 4 days?
Yeah, I think they can. I think the way they play football's got everyone in Scotland wanting to watch them and wanting them to do well, apart from Aberdeen fans tonight, obviously, but it'd be good for them to get through and really push for that cup win that they've been looking for. Yeah,
it's incredible the way they're going. Hugh was on last night, 0808 17 17 700. And Motherwell fans, what are you thinking tonight? It's a huge game because the romantic in you says Aberdeen won it in 1990. The following year, Motherwell won the cup. Aberdeen didn't do it again until last year, as we know, beating Celtic in the final. Could it be the Well this year? Could it be the year of a friendly final and the whole town turned out to see them win that epic final?
I think that's what they're hoping for. Yeah. It's all over the club, the memory of the past Scottish Cup winning team. Their pictures are up on the wall. There's some legends in, but more than a few legends in there. You still see a few of them around the club when you're there. So the players now want to be on the wall. They want to be lifting trophy. So it's a tough ask, but it's one that they should be aiming for.
The draws worked out for them. Obviously, with Rangers and Celtic playing together at Ibrox, one of them obviously gone out. If Motherwell win tonight, and it's going to be really difficult, of course, against the holders. I think they're up against Dunfermline.
That's right.
Lower league opposition. Yep. So they would fancy their chances of getting to the semis.
Dunfermline losing out last night to Morton in the league, so LA will be absolutely delighted. A resident Morton fan here in the Go Radio sales department. A big win for Morton, not so good for Dunfermline. And Jamie, you're quite chipper tonight because although you're not playing at the moment, you're coaching obviously alongside Scott Brown, and you got the win in the KDM up there, but it went all the way to penalties.
Yeah, we got the win just.
St Johnson.
We'll say just. Okay. 3-1 ahead with 2 minutes to go, we'll say. Then concede 2 goals is a bit of a killer, but straight to penalties in that competition and managed to get there. Is that just. Is that the sort of
Petrofac trophy? It's the KDM
Evolution Trophy, I think.
You're going to win it, you'd hope to win it. I mean, there's nothing like winning silverware, whatever it is.
Absolutely. It's an aim for us this season. Obviously, there's 2 aims to try and win that cup and to try and get promoted. We're still on track for both. We're not out it yet. I'm not saying we're going to go out and win every game for the rest of the season, but there's still some things to play for.
Yeah. Are you another team that's complaining about added time?
We made our own mistakes last night, let's call it that.
What a weekend it was, and the dust hasn't quite settled yet. Listen, we're going to talk about Stuttgart, who are in town to play Celtic tomorrow night in the Europa League. And Rangers, what a weekend for them. What a weekend for Chermiti. Andy, what's your reflection? We know how it sits. Hearts 57 points, Rangers on 55. They've both just got 11 games to go. Celtic with 12 games to go on 54.
Yeah, it was interesting speaking to Barry last week and hear about maybe the potential of the starting 11, and I didn't think I wondered with Barry whether Chermiti would play. He was absolutely convinced Ndiri would play. He was right, of course, but I didn't think the two of them would, and maybe that is the way to go for Rangers to get the best out of both of them. Chermiti was absolutely magnificent. The hat-trick was great, the quality of the goals, his play on the ground, his height, strength, physique in the air. He looked a really good player in a big game, and that's the last time he did that, of course, was at Parkhead when he got the 2 goals to beat Celtic. So maybe he's the guy for the big occasion.
Jamie?
Yeah, you're looking at Rangers' strike partnership, if you want to hit. It's been a while since you said a team has a strike partnership, but you look back at teams, Rangers and Celtic, McCoist, Hateley, Larsson, Sutton, Hartson in there as well. You need big game strikers and big game players, and Rangers seem to have, I'm going to say Rangers seem to have found that, but it's still early. They've done well together in the one game, but they looked a threat.
And Andy, that's the way they played when you were there at Celtic. You were
Yeah.
part of a great couple of players up front. It would be rotated.
I don't know where I would have played if I didn't play alongside another striker. I was never someone who could play in that central role on his own. I did a few times, but it wasn't my game. I think you need to have a better physique than I've got. But to play with McAvenny, to play with John McGinley, to play with so many other good players, I was always happier in a partnership.
Who is going to be the manager of the year? Because I reckon whoever's the manager of the year is going to be the winner of the title. So is it Derek McInnes? Is it Danny Röhl? Or is it Martin O'Neill? This is a season like no other. Here on the Go Radio Football Show with Burger King, we'll be with you every step of the way. Some of the headlines today. Luke Graham, he was mentioned a few weeks ago in the programme here. In fact, he was mentioned just the other day with Barry Ferguson and Charlie Mulgrew. The Dundee defender attracting interest from Rangers, so look out for that maybe in the summer. But let's go on the lines. First up, 0808 17 17 700. Ross is on. Hi Ross, good evening.
Hi Paul, good evening, Andy and Jamie. Hope you guys are all right.
All good, Ross.
Good, Ross, our favourite referee, because you referee at different levels. What about the time issue? Are you interested in that story about who gets the most time added on? I see it's Livy actually, and that's tough for the Livy fans, adding on extra seconds. There, what is it, 98 minutes or whatever? Is this going to be an issue? It shows you the referees and the VAR officials are going to be under such scrutiny in the last 12, 11 games.
Yeah, listen, it's just part and parcel, I suppose, the life in Glasgow, that this is the sort of thing that they pick up on. But it's not a big issue for me, because Monday Celtic had 7 minutes added on, but so did Kilmarnock had 7 minutes added on.
Sure.
So it works in both ways. If Kilmarnock had scored in that time, I don't know if that would have been an issue for Neil McCann. But for me, like as I say, Paul, it works for both teams. Yeah. But my biggest concern is Celtic we can't keep relying on last minute goals to bail us out of games, and that's the last 3 games I think that we've scored within the last couple of minutes. So eventually it will catch up on us, and I just feel like the game tomorrow is maybe a good thing for the club, because we want to progress in Europe, of course we do, but over the course of the next couple of games, I don't know if it'll be a hindrance to us, and I don't know if Martin O'Neill would maybe look at these 2 games and maybe rest a couple of players that maybe would have been starters ahead of the games at Ibrox and the game against Hibs at the weekend. I don't know if Andy agrees with that.
Well, the squad is big enough, but I mean they've got a good number of injuries. The first thing I would say is Celtic want to win this 2-legged tie. I think they want to get as far as they can in European competition, and so they should. I think they'll play a strong team, and if you can get a good victory, Ross, players love that, and they can't wait for the next game. So I know that Celtic are coming into a really tough run where they've got Rangers away a couple of times, they've got Aberdeen away, and then they've got Stuttgart away as well. That is really tough, but if you're winning the games, you cannot wait for the next one. And as for your point, Ross, about the last minute goals, honestly, I think I said it here last week, Paul, I think it's a great quality. The only time I won a league title with Celtic, we often scored late in the game to turn those draws into victories, and you'll hear it from every manager. When you get into that dressing room, just the sheer joy and ecstasy of getting such a late winner, all the drama that comes with it, you send the fans home happy. I think it's a good thing.
Is it a state of mind? Are we making too much of it, Jamie? Because Liam Scales is in the papers today saying, I love playing too. I think he actually said, I don't mind. I'd rather play than train.
I'm with you there. So as a football player, you want to play games all the time. If it's me, I'm wanting to play Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday. If you've played down south, and you'll know that's what it's like.
Sure.
These boys at Rangers and Celtic and Hearts, they've played European football, they're used to it. And it is better than training. Sometimes training goes in and it's hard. Sometimes training's harder than a game. I think
is it?
That's how people sometimes don't understand that, the continuous training. Sometimes it gets on people. So
it will be a challenge for Martin O'Neill to manage a squad. I mean, the games Celtic are playing European ties, maybe it's 2, maybe it's 4, maybe it's even longer. They'll want to win these 2-legged affairs. They want to go deep into the Europa League. the players might be dreaming about getting to the final. And this is, of course, within a title race that could go to Edinburgh, it could go to the Rangers. Celtic still very much in it, but I'm sure they're glad to have these games.
Ross, you could go all the way to Istanbul. Now, look, the record book shows it happened for Celtic in, 2003, the Seville year, that you didn't actually win anything, but would you swap that year? And then Rangers 2008 missed out as well. It's the same story. But it's a good question. Who would you drop at the moment, or who would you rest? What would you do about Hatate, for example? He's been amazing, but he's so off it just now. What would you do?
Yeah, no, as I say, like, I just look at these two games against Stuttgart, Paul, and I think, in hindsight, are we going to win the Europa League? Probably not. So obviously you want to progress as a player, and as a Celtic fan, you want Celtic to win everything. You want us to progress in every tournament. But I just think what Andy said there regarding the games away to Rangers, away to Aberdeen, home to Hibs this weekend, they are tough games, and as I say, I just think maybe tomorrow night, is it an opportunity for us to maybe rest, I don't know, like a Callum McGregor maybe, and rest him for the weekend? Is it an opportunity for maybe a Luke McCowan to come in, somebody like that's maybe not got game time? But as I say, I just think over the course of the next couple of weeks, we are going to be tested in terms of the two games at Ibrox. I think it'll be massive. Aberdeen's obviously a sticky place to go, so I just hope we can come through it, and I hope, as I say, that we're not having to rely on last minute goals every week, because honestly, for the heart, it's honestly it's got to be palpitations here, Paul.
Ross, if Celtic get a last minute winner against Rangers, honestly, you'll celebrate like no other.
Of course you will.
What about Paulo Bernardo? Jamie, we've seen next to nothing of him this year. I mean, he captained the Portugal under-21s, 18 months ago or so. He did so well when he came initially. Remember the strike that led to Celtic's goal in the cup final, you know the story, in 2024. But what's happened to him? And can Martin O'Neill get him playing again so that he can allow some other players to be rested?
I'm not sure what's happened to him, or it's just maybe Martin O'Neill doesn't fancy him as a player. I mean, there's a question mark over his situation. Obviously, could he have went in January? Nobody really knows, but I do think he's a good player. But if Martin O'Neill doesn't see him playing, obviously get Oxlade Chamberlain coming in playing that kind of attacking midfield role as well, it looks as if it's going to be a tough end to the season for him in terms of minutes.
Andy, what do you think on... That's a great point about Oxlade Chamberlain getting up to speed.
I like Bernardo. Yeah. I would give him more game time. I don't know what's happening behind the scenes or at training or what Martin O'Neill's thoughts are, but I think in his time at Celtic he's shown that he's capable of playing in big games and, you know, making a difference. You think of the cup final a couple of years ago when he picked that ball up in the middle of the park, drove forward, had that shot at goal, keeper spills it, and Ida scores the winner against Rangers. So I think he's got something to offer, yeah.
Let's hear the three managers, Ross, before you go, about who's going to win the title. That wasn't the question to Derek McInnes, but let's hear what he said at the end of the defeat at Ibrox.
There's so much on the title fight, and in other areas of the league as well, there's sort of a lot on it. So, you know, I think for us, there's no shame in us losing the day. We're up against a team who have spent 40-50 million. You'd expect them to be top of the league, and expect them to be able to beat Hearts, but they had to work hard for it today. Let's hear Danny Röhl after that win.
Look, on Wednesday, we spoke about our momentum is done. It's over. Now, 2 days later, we speak about again the momentum. It's all about the next consistency again and again and again. It's nice now that we have a title race with 3 teams, and we are in the middle of this race, and this feels good. But how many games we have? 11? 11 to go. Yeah, will be funny for you guys. You can enjoy. But we are ready.
He's ready. Martin O'Neill, long way to go, he says.
It's a game that we've won now when we were, well and truly out of it at one stage. Well, I say well and truly out of it. You feel with this group of players that they're never really out of it. But, to fight back in the manner in which we did, to get all 3 points and in the manner in which we did very, very late on was very pleasing. Who knows at the end of it all? I don't know. There's a long way to go yet.
Ross, what do you feel overall listening to all? Hearts, are they going to stay in there, or do you think they're going to fade away?
No, I think Hearts have shown credit this year where they've done really well and they've picked up points in games that you thought they would have maybe dropped points. But honestly, right now, as I said to you before, Paul, I generally do think the title race is possibly in the hands of Rangers at the minute, just due to the momentum that they're showing. But I think for Celtic, if we can come through the weekend, which I feel suspect we will, against Hibs, I think the next couple of games, Aberdeen and Rangers, if we can come through them with 6 points and we start showing a bit more clinical in terms of finishing teams off, I firmly believe, I think Celtic will start to hit for them, because this seems to be the sort of time of the season where it comes to the nitty gritty, and we've got that determination where we've won the last 4 titles and we've won titles after titles, and teams like Hearts and Rangers who maybe don't win titles a lot don't have that control in terms of seeing games out when it comes to the pressurised time of the season. So it will be interesting to see how Hearts and Rangers finish off the season, but I firmly believe if Celtic beat Rangers at Ibrox, I think the momentum might carry us to go on and hopefully win the league. But right now, I think it's possibly in the hands of Rangers, and we maybe need to just be wary of this game at Ibrox.
And yet, what a moment this was for you and for your team, the 97th minute and the winner.
To a certain extent, now it's happening. It's happening too often. I don't think you can keep that going, in all honesty. But they do play to the end, and that's the lovely thing about them. They've got this spirit and determination imbued in them. So it's well done there.
Andy, the bookies, they don't often get it wrong.
Oh, it's tight. I mean, I would still have Hearts as favourites. They're top of the league.
They've got them third favourites.
And maybe they know more than me. But when you're at the top of the table just now, you've won the most games. I know that Celtic have won the same amount, but they've got the most amount of goals. Yeah. It is interesting. I mean, they've lost 2 of their last 3, so you would think with them, they're home to Falkirk at the weekend, very tough, and Falkirk knocked them out of the Scottish Cup. That still feels a bit sore for them. It's one they really have to bounce back and make sure they get all 3 points to be serious contenders.
Jamie, it just shows you Andy saying, Celtic legend, but the Hearts are, in pole position, but the bookies have them at 72. Rangers, your old team, 2-1. Celtic, 10-11.
Yeah, I don't disagree with the odds. I think obviously the last 10-15 years history is obviously gone into the odds as well. Yeah. Celtic have won it so many times recently. Rangers, it seems like a hurdle they need to get over winning the league. Obviously won it a few years ago under Gerrard, but there's been many a time where Rangers have been right in there in January, February, and then fall away towards the end of the season. So Rangers are hoping this is the year that doesn't happen. And I don't think it will. I think they'll be there until the end. Whether they win it or not, I'm not sure. But it feels like it could go right down to the wire.
Ross, are you going to be at the match tomorrow night, Stuttgart?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yep.
So, I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow night. But I'm just, as I say, Stuttgart are a really good team, and they're doing well in the Bundesliga. So it's going to be a tough game, Paul. Can we win it tomorrow night? I don't know. I'm not sure. But listen, we're there, and that's all that matters. But I know I'm going off topic here, but I just wish the Green Brigade were there tomorrow night to bring the atmosphere, because I think that would have been tremendous. And I just think that's what really misses at Celtic Park at the minute, and I just wish that we could get this unite back with the fans. And I know it's not going to happen. I know it's not going to happen anytime soon, but it just really saddens me that we're in a situation here where we've not got fans that we want in a stadium, and I just hope the players can perform tomorrow, and as I say, the fans that will be there, we can back the team, and as I say, hopefully we get a result, but I'm not sure. I'll see. Because
everyone talks about the atmosphere at Parkhead and at Ibrox, especially in European football, but at the moment it is different at Celtic, no question. And Danny Röhl said, wow, he has never heard anything like it, what he heard at Rangers, winning on Sunday. Yeah. It's a factor, Andy, isn't it? Oh, it is a factor, and I wouldn't underestimate it, and I'm just astonished that it's taken this long, and obviously it's going to take even longer to have any form of resolution. No one seems to be talking to each other. It's as if they don't want the support back in the stadium. It's truly remarkable, and it might cost them. Can Martin O'Neill, he's got everything on his shoulders, hasn't he? At the moment, it's almost like they're running on empty, on fuel. That's unfair. There is a big squad there. But you sense, Jamie, Rangers have got something about it's happening. The 4 signings they got in January seem to be settling in. Some of the Celtic signings doing well. Hearts, not quite sure. People are beginning to say, well, it's going to be tough for them in the last 11 games. But it's Martin O'Neill seems to be the inspiration for Celtic so far with these late goals.
I think he is, and I think without Martin O'Neill, Celtic wouldn't be where they are. I think that's probably fair to say. I think he's the spirit behind the team. It's not a coincidence that they've scored in the last minute and they keep going when they've got him in the touchline or him in the dressing room encouraging them. He just has that feel about him, and he has always had that when he's been at Celtic. So he's a big part of that. Rangers have made good signings, like you said, in the window. You would argue that they've probably got a better squad now than Celtic, whereas at the start of the season you wouldn't have said that. So there's a lot to play for, and again, Hearts are still in there, but I know I said it a couple of weeks ago on the show that I said Hearts, anyone but Hearts will win it, but they just don't seem to be going anywhere. I know they lost at the weekend, but
you still think it's Rangers?
I still think it's Rangers, yeah. I still think the signings in January might make the difference.
Martin O'Neill reaches 1,000 matches as a manager tomorrow night, so he's going to be elevated to the Hall of Fame of the League Managers Association. So that's a UK thing. So for
Brilliant.
Martin O'Neill, 301 games in charge at Celtic.
Absolutely fantastic, and to reach such a milestone and in such an important game, let's hope it's a victory for him.
Ross, enjoy the match tomorrow night.
Cheers, guys. Cheers.
See you, Ross.
Cheers, Ross.
Thanks very much. 0808 17 17 700.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King.
Yep, no issue tonight. Aberdeen against Motherwell in the Scottish Cup, playing for a place in the quarter-final. Could it be a year when Motherwell go back to Hampden and maybe go all the way? Jamie Murphy's here, the former Rangers star and currently at Ayr United. At the weekend, I saw your game at Arbroath was called off late on. Now, I wasn't happy a couple of weeks before, because remember, the Celtic fans travelled to Aberdeen and they found out at 4:15, the game's off. And then they say, oh, do you know there's been rain or snow here for a month? And I get it. It's Scotland. It's Aberdeen. I respect that. Why didn't you call the game off earlier? I don't think the fans get treated well enough. Happens to fans from all clubs. So your fans go up, the team go up to Arbroath and the game. So what happened?
Yeah, it was a difficult situation for the fans because they're the most important.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
safety, travelling up to the games,
sure.
all that kind of thing. We got there and it was frozen solid. There was no way you could play
Was it like? Was it-
one third
yeah.
of the pitch, you would say, up one side, still in the shade, frozen solid, impossible to play. But the Arbroath eventually came out and obviously took blame, which was great. Obviously, the chairman came out and said they hadn't checked it in the morning and all that kind of thing. Which,
February?
yeah, I know.
Yeah, come on.
But to be
Yeah.
fair, his
It's not
second
good
statement,
enough,
he came
really,
out
is
and
No.
he came out and
Yeah.
said it. So, yeah, just disappointing. So it was just back on the bus and back down the road.
Andy, it sounds to me as though we need stronger control at the centre from the SPFL. Come on. Surely they should be saying to clubs, come on, be fair to the fans travelling and the players as well.
But you're in Arbroath. If you're in charge of that club, if you're any way connected to that club, you know the weather in and around the stadium. You know that it might be in danger. Give the fans some consideration. Just be decent about it. If you're calling it off early, it saves anyone, taking time off work, putting petrol in their car, spending money on food for travel. I wish they would just give the fans a wee bit more consideration.
Yeah, they should. It's not good enough. And I know you're in a difficult position because you're, a player and a coach, but it's not fair. And this time of the year, there's no surprise that games go off. We get it, but give them... I mean, what Aberdeen were thinking about a few weeks ago, who knows? That's unbelievable. And Rangers and Celtic have got fans, as you know, coming from all over. They're flying in to the country here. And then it's called off.
Yeah,
3 hours before.
It'd have been nice to know it was Valentine's Day.
Indeed, of course, yeah.
Or it would have been nice to know
Yeah.
some boys enjoyed their trip up to Arbroath that got them out of the house for the day.
What do you do on the way back? Ross is on. So seriously, in LA, he's listening. What did you have on the way down? Did you stop off at Gleneagles? Did they take you in for a couple of pints? Yeah.
Not quite as nice as Gleneagles. Broxton Services.
Okay,
was about as far as we got.
There's a great Burger King around there as well. Hopefully they looked after
Yes.
you. But it just shows you it's the human side of it as well, isn't it? For the players getting ready for it, but the fans heading up in some numbers from Ayr up to Arbroath, smashing club. But come on, they need to do better. But it sounds to me as though the league need to get right on this and get serious.
I'm sure they have some sort of protocol in place, but the two games that you've mentioned, the Aberdeen Celtic, the Arbroath Ayr, I don't know, surely they can do better.
Sure.
An early morning pitch inspection wouldn't have been amiss.
And also, look, if it's rock solid and it's early to mid-February, Yeah, you don't need Sherlock Holmes to tell you the pitch is unplayable. You know it's going to be the case, and I don't think it was controversial. What about that story about Rangers fancying Luke Graham, the Dundee defender, just 22 last week? He's been mentioned a few times. Jamie, what do you know of him, and what do you think of him?
Yeah, good player. He was on loan at Falkirk last year, played against them in Hurley. I think he actually got sent off against us, but we'll move past that.
He did?
He did, yeah.
Right,
Last man.
Right,
Dog, so whatever you want to call it. But, good player, yeah, left-sided defender, left-footed. Maybe a player that Rangers should be looking at. Someone that's excelling at another SPL team. Fits a need that they probably have on the left side of the defence. Yeah, I think it's definitely one that should.
I know that, speaking to Barry a few times, he's a big advocate of going to other clubs in the Scottish Premiership. I mean, Rangers don't do it often. Who have they got there just now? Suter, who's been there a few years, who was at Dundee United, and then you had Connor Barron, Lyle Cameron, who's had to go away. Finlay Curtis, you all saw the impact he made at the start of the season, but he's on loan now at Kilmarnock. Really difficult for young lads to try and make the grade, but I think Luke Graham has shown that he's got a lot of potential. And
it'd be great to see Scottish players staying and playing at Rangers and Celtic, at the biggest clubs here, rather than heading that route to Italy or England.
Yeah, I've seen there was a few teams linked with him, as there probably should be, the performances he's put in. I think Portsmouth, other couple of teams or whatever I'd seen. But yeah, he's got a good physical size, and I think that's important. And something that you don't always get from us Scottish, the 6 foot whatever, strong, built. We're normally wee skinny guys.
I wouldn't describe myself as a geek, Paul, but sometimes I look at the two clubs that are playing, whatever, and I'm not mentioning any clubs here, but just in general, you look at games of a weekend and you think, how many Scots are there in the 40? So you've got the starting 11, you've got 9 subs. How many Scots are in the 40? And sometimes you're thinking, you're not even reaching double figures. Yeah. And I just think it's I worry about it, because for the national team, we're on a bit of a high at the moment. We qualify for major tournaments, but where's the next generation coming from? And what opportunities do they get? Very few.
It's going to be a big skills gap, because they're not getting football at the highest level, and it's getting worse every year. Look at Dundee United, didn't have any Scots in the team at all, and there's a lot of teams don't have many Scots in it whatsoever. Jamie, I mean, for you, would you get the chance now, do you think, that you got 15 years ago?
I would hope so at Motherwell, because he seems to be the one that does play more youngsters than others. I know obviously Lennon Miller's came through. There's been other players that have played. But I think it's something that the league probably needs to look at in terms of squads. I know down south you have a 25-man squad for the Premier League. Can we have a 25-man squad up here? But so many of them have to be Scottish-born or Scottish nationals. I mean, I'm just thinking out loud here, but it is a problem. You do want more Scottish players playing in Scotland every week. And they're not getting enough game time as well, with no reserve football anymore. No, I know, and that's the thing. They've tried to fix it, and they have fixed the minutes with the co-op loans. I think that's a big thing. There's been more minutes played in the lower leagues from Scottish young boys than there has been for a long time. I don't know, the debate about James Wilson moving from Hearts, really promising striker, getting a cap for Scotland, and now he's signing for Spurs, the under-21, playing in a sort of under-21 league down south. Is that going to improve his game, really? I don't know, but you think if you're James Wilson, what do? You want more game time. You're getting a sniff of the international scene, but you can't get game time, and he must feel as though he's got to turn somewhere, and he's getting a bit of criticism going to Spurs, but in some ways you can't blame him. Yeah, you understand it as well, but Gordon Strachan wasn't happy, was he? No, he wasn't happy, and maybe he knows a bit more about the standard of player at that level, but we'd just love to see more of them getting game time. Jimmy Murphy, you reckon, and you said it weeks ago, you think, your instinct was that Rangers are going to come through this season. It's going to be tight, but they're certainly in there. Hearts, if they win all their games, are champions. Rangers, if they win all their games, are champions. And it's the same story for Celtic. They're champions if they win all their games. Only one of them can do that. So Danny Röhl, you could tell he really enjoyed it at the weekend. I heard him saying his family are over. I think players had a couple of days off because they've got no game until this coming weekend, the Livingston match. What did he make of the game with Hearts? Arguably one of their toughest games of the season.
Yeah, my emotion was by the 4-2. Now I'm really calm again. It's about the next game. It's about Livingston now. Yeah, we need the steps by steps. But big respect to my group. I think we showed today how big is the personality, how big is the character. Let's speak not until the end of the season about the mentality of this group, because we have a lot of mentality. It's not about this. Football is about mistakes or not mistakes. We fully deserved over 90 minutes to win. We give them 2 presents today. I cannot really remember that they had more dangerous situations. We were in the game. We played even before the conceded goal with high intensity, I think as well. When you look to a week like this, and you know you have 2 big games where you need over 90, 95 minutes high intensity, then you have to take the squad like it is, because otherwise you cannot do this 72 hours again and again. And that was the reason I make decisions this week. Yeah, at the end we won. Big credit to my group. We played good football. And yeah, now it's about recover, enjoy the evening, and then we go again.
Andy?
I think it's a sign of a team with a bit of character. If you can go 1 down, especially at home, and come back, and then you go 2-1 down, and you come back, and then you push on even further, 3-2, 4-2, that's a really satisfying win. No one likes conceding goals, but it happens. Players make mistakes. And this idea that, you can't keep winning in the last minute if you're a Celtic fan, you can do it more often if you've still got that mentality. I think the mentality of Celtic players is, if they're 1-0 down, I think they'll win 2-1. If they're 2-0 down, I think they're thinking, we'll win this 3-2. I think that's their mentality. When I was at Motherwell, if we were 1-0 down, God, could we get a point? Could we steal a win? If we're 2-0 down, could we get a point? If you're 3-0 down, you don't want to lose anymore. You don't want it to be embarrassing. But when you're at a club like Celtic, if you're 1-0 down, 2-0 down, I think the mentality, at half time, the mentality is, we can still win this game.
What did you think on Sunday? So you were at Fir Park. When you heard that Kelly were 2 up.
I turned to my cameraman. Celtic were 2-0 down. I think Celtic will win 3-2.
Did you? Yeah.
It's just the way you think, you look around at the players, you know that Kilmarnock can't believe that they're 2-0 up. So they maybe sit back. And I thought Ross made a good point earlier on, the caller, when he's talking about the added time. Neil McCann wouldn't be complaining about anything if his team had scored with the last kick of the ball.
Sure.
Where did we get? You wouldn't hear Martin O'Neill say, where did they get the 7 minutes from? Because he'd be gutted that his team had lost a goal. So it's the same for both sides, but it was Celtic who were chasing the winner, wasn't Kilmarnock.
And looking at Rangers, Jamie, they went down twice against Hearts, and Hearts came, with the wind. I know they'd lost the game before, but they came with a lot of pride. They were clear at the top of the table. And for Rangers to go down twice and fight back, we wouldn't have seen that a few months ago.
No, I don't think we would have, particularly at the start of the season. When Rangers conceded a goal, it was like doom and gloom. Oh no, we're never getting back into this. But now, particularly at home, you fancy Rangers to get back into games no matter who they're playing. I know Hearts maybe scored against the run of the play, but it still takes a big performance and character to come back into the game.
What was Fernandez thinking about with that stray pass? What do you make of him? He does some great things and then drives you nuts.
Yeah, he's very, what would we say, very horizontal, very laid back. And sometimes it looks brilliant and sometimes it doesn't. And for the goal on Sunday, it didn't look great.
And Nico Raskin, at that point, was it?
Yeah, just a complete. It just looked like a complete mix-up. Yeah. Raskin wasn't great on Saturday in the first, I didn't think, but he is a really good player, and I'm sure he'll get back to it. But yeah, just a couple little mistakes here and there. Obviously, there was a mistake for Rangers' first goal as well, with the boy putting it in his net, where I think he could have cleared it.
And he'll know that.
Oh well, yeah. You look back on it and you think Nadiri scored it, and you think, new signing, getting another goal, get back, and then you watch it and it's over.
I had jotted it down as Nadiri, but I had to spell the other guy's name for the own goal. What about Braga's header?
Oh, great header, yeah. I think they said on the telly, Shearer-esque, but It is a difficult thing to do. He's not got the height on the defender. He just gets the neck muscles on it and puts it in the far corner.
And was that Duncan Shearer as well, or Alan Shearer? Yeah,
Duncan, what a player he was. Great for Scotland too.
He
Great
was,
for
wasn't
Aberdeen,
he? Yeah.
Great for
we love our
Blackburn.
Scottish football here. Blackburn as well. You're
He was
right.
at Blackburn,
Duncan
right.
Shearer.
I think Kerry took
You're
him,
right. Well, what about the goal though? Deft, wasn't it?
Brilliant goal. And Hearts have shown they've got a really good goal threat. They've got wide players that give a lot of support to the striker, but they are missing a couple of big players. And I think you've seen that. Had Shankland and Devlin been playing in the last number of weeks, maybe Hearts wouldn't have lost 2 of the last 3 games.
Danny Röhl thanked the Rangers fans and paid tribute to the effect that they can have. And we heard Ross saying earlier on about the Green Brigade not being there at the moment for Celtic. The atmosphere is different. This was Danny Röhl at the end.
Yeah, I think it was the first time since I'm here that Ibrox was like Ibrox. Yeah, you felt it, what it means. I'm very positive. I think we want to have this atmosphere in the stadium. The only thing is, and this is, I can understand this sometimes, but sometimes it's difficult when you have to prepare the next action and you need the extra pass and you need an extra pass to prepare something. Yeah, then it's sometimes difficult for my players, I would say, because we have to make decisions, and especially when you play against a deep block and they wait for transition moments, and sometimes you need the extra pass. But let's speak not about this. Let's speak about how the atmosphere was after the game. Outstanding. I think they push us today in every situation. Then they deserved these 3 points, and it was great. It was really great. I enjoyed this. My players could enjoy this after the game, and maybe we can have more such afternoons together. I spoke about we, and it means we do this again.
They're together, Jamie, you can tell. Do you think you'll be off to see Stuttgart tomorrow night then, in town? It'd be good if sometimes the Rangers managers do go to Celtic Park and the other way around. It doesn't happen too often. But European football in town tomorrow night?
Yeah, I mean, if he was doing I'm sure he'll watch it if he's not at the game. Yeah. I think no matter who your opponents are next, you're going to watch them and study them. So you would expect him to at least see the game. But it was great to hear him talking about the atmosphere there, because it felt like that. It felt like a big game. I don't know if that was because the adversity that they had to come through, but the atmosphere felt a bit like, I'm not going to say the old kind of Rangers style with the crowd and stuff. Obviously, things have happened and whatever, but it felt like a big game.
Barry said it was the best atmosphere he'd heard since Fenerbahce this time last year. Yeah,
well, I remember that one, a European occasion, and honestly, as a player, I think when you feel that vibe from your home supporters, it helps you so much. I've said it time and time again, puts a yard on your stride, and you just want to do everything possible as an individual, as a team, just to give them another special memory.
If you want to speak to Andy Walker or Jamie Murphy, you know the number, 0808 17 17 700.
Show with Burger King.
Mark Whitty will be here tomorrow night with James McPake. Mark, he's always good with his stats, guys, and last night I said earlier in the season 85 points could clinch the title. He now thinks it could be 82 points. So when you look at it with Hearts in 57, and I would imagine, I'm no football manager, but it's a great thing to say to your players, get to 82 points and you will be the champions. Same story for Rangers, same for Celtic.
I think it's guaranteed that all 3 sides will drop points. This is not a vintage Celtic team. They've got a lot of heart. I think you saw Ibrox at the weekend that Rangers have got a bit more heart under Danny Röhl. Their consistency since he came in has been really impressive. And Hearts have been, they've been at the top for so long. How will they cope with that pressure? I can see all 3 sides dropping points between now and the end of the season.
And Jamie, Motherwell, your old team, on 47 points. Not far off it. They've got a game in hand, as have Celtic. But I guess we keep saying it's those draws in the autumn that when they look back, this could be a season like no other. They could be the Leicester City of Scotland.
Yeah, particularly early on in the season. Did they draw their first 5 games, first 4 games, something like that?
Yep.
Where they played good football, they just couldn't get the ball in the net. Since then they obviously have, and they've still kept the clean sheets going. So I know we said earlier about manager of the year. I wouldn't rule out Askew just yet.
Mark's on asking, Andy, what do you think for Celtic for next season? Look, Martin O'Neill should get whatever he wants. He's 74, and I'm certainly not ageist. So he's double the age of Danny Röhl. But Martin O'Neill's amazing, right? Everyone agrees, yeah? I think Rangers fans, the former Rangers player, you would accept what an example he is to people. But they have to have a plan. What about Jens Bertel Askew? Could he be in Celtic's, the director's thinking, right, he's somebody we should target for whenever Martin O'Neill decides I'm going upstairs?
He should certainly be on their list.
Yeah.
I spoke to him after the game at the weekend, just speaking about...
What's he like?
He's he's a lovely guy,
Yeah.
but before we got in front of camera, just speaking about, I think he realised I was a former Motherwell player, and we just chatted about his team. And the one thing I noticed about Motherwell is that in players like Stephen O'Donnell, Paul McGinn, I thought Paul McGinn was the outstanding player for Motherwell. And you've got to remember, a lot of their success is they've got the best defence in the league. They've only conceded 18 goals in 26 games. That is remarkable. It's the way that they have a lot of composure. There might be 1, 2, sometimes 3 players putting a bit of pressure on a Stephen O'Donnell or a Paul McGinn, but they've still retained the composure to play a pass, whether it's short or long. And I think that is something to be admired. The way they play through the midfield, the way they create space, the way they use the full width of the pitch. It's just very impressive. And I'm sure he's got to be on Celtic's list. I don't think it'll be Martin O'Neill next season. I don't think he wants it. I mean, I think there's a huge turnaround coming at Celtic. Whatever happens, they'll still need to get a lot of players in. There's 4 or 5 who want to leave. There's a lot of players on loan. There's a big rebuilding job to be done. You need to build a new team, and it's going to be a big job for someone. You just hope that they, whoever it is, they'll have a better summer transfer window than the last 2.
Paul McGinn, I know at Hibs, they weren't happy when they let him go a couple of years ago, Paul. That was a mistake. I know Thomas, our Hibs fan in San Francisco, was on a couple of times saying, why have they let him go? But he's in a purple patch this season.
He is, and I agree, Hibs shouldn't have let him go. Obviously I was there at Hibs with Paul, and you know his qualities when you're in his team. It's maybe now people outside of it are now seeing that, but playing with him, you always knew he was a good player, defensively really good, 1v1, tidy on the ball. But you can see what the Motherwell manager's done for the players at the back. They look a lot more comfortable on it. People like Stephen O'Donnell, a couple of others. It helps with the midfield they've got. The 3 players that play in there are really comfortable on it. They take the ball anywhere. The goalie takes the ball anywhere, which is maybe something you don't say about other teams. So it gives you confidence when you're in a team like that. You know you've got your teammate to pass to, and you can trust them.
It was one of the things he spoke about after the game. He wasn't happy that the goalkeeper wasn't as far up the pitch as he should have been, to try and kickstart a bit of movement. And it's just, I was watching it from behind the goal, so it was really good to see the pictures developing. And must be a great team to play in at the moment, because you're going to get a lot of the ball.
Why were you behind the goal? You'd normally be up in the gantry or whatever? No?
That was where our position was. We were behind the goal. We were actually behind glass.
Right. Used to be the Motorola stand up there, wasn't it?
At the Motherwell end, not at the Aberdeen end.
All right, yeah.
It was good.
Bertel,
and they're lovely people there. They look after you really well, which is always a pleasure.
Barry said he got a really warm welcome from the guy at the front door who was giving him in the best possible way. He's giving, and I love that, a bit of banter with Barry, but there's some great characters. He's been there forever, since your time. Bertel Askew, loving life there, I take it?
Yeah, and I think there's more to come. He's got a lot of ambition. Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of Motherwell fans who think he'll stay at Motherwell because it looks as though he's going to guarantee them European football. There's another level. Can you take a Motherwell team into Europe and do something with Motherwell then? Maybe he wants to stay and do that. So
because that's been tough, as you know, for Kilmarnock and teams like that who've got to that 3rd, 4th position, got European football, and it's not. And same for Hibs and Hearts.
Yeah, Hibs, Hearts, Aberdeen. We've struggled in European competition. You're talking really about the conference level, and it would be great to see Motherwell in Europe under a manager like Askew, who clearly has got a lot of ambition and absolutely knows what he's doing.
Jamie, what about Lyle Cameron? He's in the papers today. They're talking about the great start he's had at Aberdeen, and they referenced the fact there was a banner up, no more Old Firm loans. But they've taken him to heart, haven't they, up there at Pittodrie?
Yeah, I'm glad. I mean, it must be horrible going to play your first game and then there's someone protesting your signing. I've never quite been there myself, but
not even your family.
No. It's got to be difficult. Like first game, but then he went out. He got man of the match first game, and he's done well since. So yeah, I'm really glad for him.
And do you think he'll come back to Rangers? It's probably one you can't answer just now, because who knows what Danny Röhl's thinking of, what are Rangers going to do? Do they win the title? What's success for Rangers? But I suppose it's impossible to say for what will happen this summer.
Yeah, there's always that chance. But you kind of get the feeling that Danny Röhl's looking for a different profile of player. The players he brought in, they all seem to be big, tall, strong, kind of not Lyle Cameron's game. Lyle Cameron's more agile, tidy on the ball, take it anywhere. So I think it'll be tough for him.
Danny Röhl was speaking after the game, after that 4-2 win, about the two strikers.
Yeah, I think this is as well. On Wednesday, Ryan couldn't go as a starter. Yeah, I think then Yusuf start. I think this is good to have, especially against this side of opponent, physical, strong in front. We played with 2 10s in behind, very flexible. That was great. I think the 2 6s made the job. Then the opponent changed, building up with a 3. We changed then also to a 4-2-3-1 to set up them. Yeah, and finally, I must say also to be happy, I think the 4-2, I spoke with Gus. It doesn't matter when you come on, but please deliver. And yeah, it is what it is. I think we need everyone. We need everyone in this group, and it was great. I hope as well that Yusuf gets a little bit more credit as well, because now in 2 times in big games he showed that he is a big player, then he can make the difference. But again, it's all about the next. I will not celebrate too much. I will recover. My family is here, and then we go again against Livingston.
The news is next. I didn't realise we're at no injury time being added on. Jamie, you're all right.
No added minutes.
Watching. No added minutes at the moment.
So angry.
Might be different in an hour. News is next, then we're back.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King. Watch live at 5 p.m. weekdays on YouTube. Join the conversation on 0808 17 17 700. Talking Scottish football first.
Dundee United were the winners last night against the Spartans, so they're through to the next round, the quarter-finals of the Scottish Cup. And Andy Walker saw Motherwell beat Aberdeen at the weekend. Can they do it again tonight at Pittodrie? It's the Europa League tomorrow night. This time tomorrow night, be getting ready, Celtic fans, for the game with Stuttgart. Martin O'Neill has been speaking to the media this afternoon at the UEFA conference. So there's quite a bit. He's going to talk about the Green Brigade and talks with the Celtic board. He's talking about the squad. And just seeing if there's any update. It's his 1000th game in management. It's absolutely phenomenal. Let's start, though, with the fans and unity. This is what he said just a short time ago at Celtic Park.
I think a full house here at Celtic Park is something special. It's every European night that I've had in the past, way back then, was just filled with special moments. Teams where I think generally, and I'm talking about the really major sides, we're still very, very concerned about coming here. The passion, the drive, and the noise that's made. I remember here our game against Liverpool in that UEFA run. John Robertson, my old friend, was standing beside me and speaking to me. I couldn't hear a word he was saying for the first 10 or 15 minutes. It was so loud. So, yeah, little bits have been lost from that, and that's regrettable, to use your word, I think. And I'm hoping that, I think there has been some discussions, which I'm obviously wasn't party to, but I hear that I think that there's been some progress made. But as I've been saying this here, the sooner that there is unity at Celtic Park, the better for all concerned. We had, I have no doubt at all that the crowd behind the goal on Sunday contributed greatly to us fighting back in the game. No question about that.
Andy, look at the way Rocco enjoyed that moment, and it did look pretty spectacular. Unusual to go in for so long, but you need that kind of magic, that rapport with the fans.
Special moment, not only for the player, but I'm sure for all those that he was embracing, and it was just a joyous moment, and no one was hurt, no one was injured. If Martin O'Neill is telling you there's been talks, then that's the first step. I think what you want is a bit of unity. But I've got to say, the protests have been going on for so long. It seems as though the supporters are hell-bent on trying to force some sort of change, but we'll see what happens.
Meantime, 12 games to go to win the title. You've got, 3-4 games in the Cup. Rangers not least coming up next, or there will be one more game if they don't beat Rangers. And then Europe. And with Martin O'Neill there, you never know. He was asked about the squad. This has just come in. Is it strong enough?
Please, this is not an excuse for me. Far from it. But by 2003, I knew my squad inside out. I knew what they could do. I knew what physical prowess they had. I knew what ability they had, and so I knew them inside out. So I, believe it or not, I'm still learning here about these lads. You know, I'm all the time. Mostly excellent stuff about them as well too. But yeah, I don't know is the answer.
Jamie Murphy, what do you think of that? You can understand it as a coach now as well, getting to know 30 players.
Yeah, he has to know them personally as well as professionally. He has to know who he can trust. He has to know who would react well in certain situations. Another thing about him, he needs to know who's going to react to him shouting at them. I think that's a thing you need to know. Is it going to take me shouting at him to get him going, or is it an arm round the shoulder? There's lots of different factors to it, and he's an expert at it, so I wouldn't put it past him to get it right very quickly.
It's a concern, I think. Yeah. You want a manager who knows absolutely everything about every single player. And of course he doesn't, because he came in for, 6 weeks, and then he's away for another 6 weeks, and then he's back in for another 6 weeks. The management behind the scenes has been a complete and utter shambles. So that's a concern when you've got so many tough games ahead, not just the one tomorrow night against Stuttgart, but as we mentioned earlier, back-to-back away games against Rangers and Aberdeen, and then of course the away tie in Stuttgart.
But he's lost no league games, that's right, isn't it? He's only dropped 2 points, the Hearts game, in the 2 spells. It's unbelievable. But you make a great point. I think a lot of Celtic fans are worried. Is there anyone at the club who knows what they're doing? What's the real strategy of the club? Because it has been a shambles this season. Nevertheless, they're still in for everything. So I think he was asked today, this has just come in, about the strength of the team at the moment.
Whether we're stronger, we certainly... I think that, yes, if you think that in Michelin, say it was my third game in charge, just getting to know the players, things like that, I think that we do this. And I think, yes, I think that the players that we brought in have... In little spurts have brought something to us. You know, Thomas makes the goal in the last minute, scores at home here, makes the goal against Hearts. Junior scores as well too in the Dundee game, keeps us alive, and so they've all played little parts. But it has not been easy for them to come and settle in. You know, Thomas hadn't played a great deal of football before that, so I'm hoping by the end of the season. That they would have made some mark here and made it worthwhile for them.
Andy, thoughts there about Thomas Chavanchara?
I thought he did so well for the goal. The way he received it, turned in the same movement, got the cross in, and even the finish, it's so missable, especially on that type of surface where it's bouncing. It could easily have gone over the bar, but it was a special moment, and one you might be able to look back on. You know, as well as all the other last-minute type winners that Celtic have had this season, and they're so important.
Jamie, what worries you from a Rangers perspective, looking at Celtic just now? Oxlade Chamberlain, or is it just going to be a sort of Hollywood signing that'll come and go? Or I mean, he's made a significant contribution. What do you feel?
He's made his mark already, scoring late on in the game. From what I've heard out the place, that he's a really good trainer, good attitude and stuff, and that can only help Celtic. But when you look at their signings they've made, everyone's comparing them to Rangers and whatever, but they've all done something to make an impact. Adamu scoring last minute, Dundee the Cup, Kvanchara setting up the goal in the last minute again at the weekend. Arojo scoring the goal, but I think Arojo's been excellent since he's come in, and I think Alistair Johnson's got a fight in his hands for that place at right back.
Of course, he came in, Arojo, under Wilfred Nancy, to be fair.
But he's one who's just grown into the role. I mean, Celtic supporters are so used to Alistair Johnson and a high, consistent level of performance, but he's been one of the decent ones that's come in.
Let's hear, what do you want next on it? I'll give you the options. Memories of Stuttgart back in 2003. That was part of the journey of going all the way to Seville and the final.
Yeah, well, way back in 2003, when I was a much younger man, we had the 2 games against Stuttgart, who were a very fine side. Now, we won the first game 3-1, and Stuttgart had a man sent off as well too, so that obviously helped us. And then we scored 2 early goals there in Stuttgart, so we were flying at the time, and we thought, this is going to be fine. We were hanging on at the end in the game, and Stuttgart, I think they had a chance about 10 minutes to go in the match, and had they scored then, another one would have put us out. So that's, from an almost invincible position that we were in, to be hanging on at the end. Now, Stuttgart were a very fine side then, so for us over the 2 games to come through was big news for us.
John and Kate are on. They remember that home and away, but it shows you in Europe. I mean, you're up against, what do we know about Stuttgart, Andy, at the moment? I know they're doing really well in the Bundesliga.
Yeah, and just got a lot of fine players. I mean, players who'll be in the German international squad. I know that Jamie's knows someone who used to play at Brighton. Not that you played alongside him.
Undav, I think he's done all right for Brighton. But he wasn't
better quality.
Their best player, but I think he's done well when he's went back to Germany.
What do you think for tomorrow night, Jamie? What would be a good result for Celtic?
I think
clearly
a win.
But what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, you don't put it past them to go out and win the game. It's always been a tough place for players, for teams to go, particularly in Europe. And I think Celtic will need that atmosphere there tomorrow night. Like Ross said earlier, it'll be difficult without the Green Brigade there. But can the rest of the crowd bring them up to speed?
Do you think more people will come out now, given that Martin O'Neill's saying, look, we need everybody there? He's referenced to 20 years ago, Andy. Is the mood changing?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah. I'm sure with some, the mood will not change. I think they want change at boardroom level more than maybe going along to support the team. But I think it will be a terrific contest, because I think Celtic are capable. Any sort of victory, if you're winning by a goal, to go to Germany with any sort of lead, I think that's a great result.
He was asked how far does he think the side can go?
This is a major test for us tomorrow. If you'd been having a conversation with me, which you might have done, about after Michelin, we would have got long odds about being here this evening. But I've said in the past, we went to Feyenoord, got a great result there. Fought with 10 men for about 60 minutes in the match against Bologna. So I just didn't want those games to not count for something. So we beat Utrecht and we're here, so we might as well give it a go. Stuttgart are flying at this moment. They're 4th in the Bundesliga. They're in a Champions League position. I've had a look at them. They're very strong, physical, and got a lot of good players playing for them. So they'll be difficult games for us, but while we're there, just let's go for it.
Celtic fans, what are you thinking ahead of this game tomorrow night? 0808 17 17 700. Rangers fans maybe enjoying a few days off. Not that the players, the fans get a few days off, but I think the Rangers players have had a couple of days to R&R.
From what I've heard, yeah. I was once told that football players respond to 3 things: money, nights out, and days off.
Right.
So he's looking after them with the days off.
Is it still the nights out? Because it's different though, isn't it? The
younger
players.
I would say it's probably a lot more professional these days, but there's still time for the odd night out.
Andy,
where are you going with this?
I don't know. I'm not quite sure. Take whichever route you want, straight to goal.
The level of professionalism now, I think, is a lot higher than what we did. But I mean, I think the standard of player. When I was up against the great Aberdeen, Dundee United teams, even some of the Rangers players, they would walk into the team today. So, it's all changed.
not as many. I mean, people come and go quickly nowadays, don't they? You know, Scottish football names that we hear, like Vaclav Černý last year at Rangers.
Well, we spoke about it earlier. I mean, when I played against Rangers, Aberdeen, Dundee United, they were Scottish teams. You had the odd foreign player, but they were very, very Scottish, full of Scottish players, full of really good ones. Martin O'Neill was asked the question, would he continue into next season after this interimship is over?
Really genuinely think that would be that's too far in the future for me. Genuinely too far in the future. I wouldn't think it. And you mentioned about the 1,000 games. If you'd seen my early matches at Leicester City in late 95, early 96, you'd have got long odds of me doing 1,000 games in that time. So, but back to your point, I think that it is far too far in the future. It's like, you know, to me, it's a long way away. And how I might feel today might be totally different in 10 days' time. We've got a lot of games here. We've got a lot of work to do. And if we fall by the wayside, which we could easily do, I don't think we'd even have been having any sort of discussion.
Alex Sutton, a Celtic fan, saying, guys, what would you do with the goalkeeping position tomorrow night? Would you play Schmeichel or Sinisalo? Yeah, Schmeichel has drawn attention to himself with some strange decisions, some mistakes. I think Martin O'Neill will persevere with him, with his experience, with his, hopefully, his big game mentality when he can pull off some big saves. And I know he did that in the previous home game in Europe. I know he's chucked one or two in, but I think Martin O'Neill will persevere with him. And I think that's probably the right call. Jamie?
It's a statement, changing a goal into, like, rightly or wrongly, sometimes they've made a few mistakes or they've been okay or whatever, but yeah, I think it's probably too big a change at the minute for Celtic to change their goalkeeper. But saying that, he hasn't been great. He has sailed a couple of goals. Yeah, he's a bit like Joe Hart. Apparently, you know, behind the scenes, Andy, he's a kind of almost like the vice captain to Callum McGregor. He's influenced. That can be important. There's a value in that, but you need to play really well on the field, and I think it tells you that it's another position that Celtic will need to address in the summer. They'll need to go and get another recognised number one, I think. Up front, we mentioned Siobhan Chara, we've mentioned Oxlade Chamberlain. Do you think he'll start tomorrow night, guys? Any thought? Do you think he's ready now well, it doesn't have to be 90 minutes, but he's been out of the game for so long, and I know he's just been training with Arsenal, and of course he comes on for a short time against Livingston, makes a big mark, of course, with the goal, a quality goal, quality finish, and then he gets a bit more game time. I'm not sure he's ready to start. And he's not in the squad, which I should have remembered. He's still got a lot to offer. I can exclusively reveal he won't start tomorrow night, of course, because he's not in the squad, which I should have remembered. Thank you, James, for that one. Yang, what do you make of him? He's hot, he's cold, he sometimes looks not quite a world beater, but does some great things, and then other times it's just not effective. Yeah, he had a period there where he was really, really good. Celtic's best winger, probably for a few weeks, even the month there. But yeah, you know, there's competition for places, particularly over the last few weeks. You know, you've got new strikers coming in, new attacking players. Maeda's went out wide again, left or right, who seems to play every week. So it's been tough for him, but he could easily come in and be the best player tomorrow night. I think that's the kind of character he is. He's not consistent, but on the odd game he can look like a world beater. Andy, any thoughts on Yang? He's getting game time under Martin O'Neill. I don't think he is in your strongest starting 11, but he's someone who can make a difference, and he has. I think he has been a really decent player in the last number of weeks. Do you think it's going to happen for Maeda? 33 goals, wasn't it, last season? Yeah. Just hasn't looked, he's certainly not the player he was. Look, we know the story. He thought he was going on transfer deadline day in the summer. Didn't happen. But he's still getting paid by Celtic. And yeah, he's still getting paid, but you cannot help someone who thinks not only is he leaving, it's not as though he's going down the road somewhere. He's an international player. Yeah. And he was pretty much packed up and ready to go. And again, you would question the management of a player like that. And I think he's another one that will probably be on his way in the summer, along with Röhl Hatate. You just hope that they can get their focus back
and contribute to a few Celtic wins.
How are Hearts going to react? Danny's on, he's a Hearts fan. He's saying, look, I know lots of people think, especially in the West, that it's going to be over. It's going to be Rangers, it's going to be Celtic. He says, like his manager, his team are going to fight on to win the league.
I've told the lads not to be too down. We should be disappointed. The fact that we're so disappointed coming to Ibrox. But we fought hard, we worked hard, and we put a lot into the game. But we still feel we're 11 games to go. We've got some good fixtures coming up, and it's important we just dust ourselves down and get ready for them.
And I guess starting this weekend for him, the Falkirk game, they were disappointed to lose. It's unusual these days, Falkirk losing. But Hearts, Falkirk, would you fancy them, Jamie, at the weekend?
You would fancy them to bounce back, yeah. I think they played well enough in the game to not be too downhearted by it. Tough place to go for them. Crowd was up, atmosphere was up. You've got to move on if you lose. So they'll go into that Falkirk game confident, I think.
What's the word in Lawrence Shankland? There was a kind of hint on the telly at the weekend that he might be back quite soon, because they've missed him, haven't they?
Oh, they've missed him. They've missed his game outside the box. They've missed his ability to link up play. And obviously they've missed his goal-scoring ability. They've missed Devlin as well for his drive and the way he keeps possession, wins possession. Two big players, arguably the two most important players for Hearts. And since they've dropped out the team, it's no real surprise that they've lost 2 out of 3. Every game is difficult, especially now when it means so much. There's almost a countdown. You can, you're looking at games and think, just win that and let's see what the other teams are doing. I think they'll all drop points, but Hearts are still in pole position.
Because obviously Hearts fans, some of them remember 40 years ago what happened before your time. You were at Motherwell probably at that time. It was before you went to Celtic.
And it was funny because there was a big roar went round Ibrox. We were playing Rangers at Ibrox, and they thought, well, they'd heard Kidd had scored, but they thought it was Walter Kidd.
Oh, of course.
With Hearts. Rangers fans were celebrating, but of course it was Albert Kidd, and everything changed. What a day of drama that was.
Yeah, day of destiny for Hearts as well, but not in their favour, having led for so much, Jamie. How important is it to have been over the course that Celtic have been, and Rangers have, compared to obviously Hearts? Do you think this is going to be a factor?
I think it will, yeah. I think experience being in that situation will obviously help your Callum McGregors, your people like that who've been there, done it, know what it requires. There's not many in the Celtic and in the Rangers and Hearts sides that have been there and done it. So Celtic definitely have the advantage in that term.
What about James Tavernier? We're going to speak about the Rangers captain after this. Evening.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King.
Scottish Cup, I wonder how many Aberdeen fans will be there tonight. Will be coming out in big numbers because Motherwell are taking a doughty band of fans up there.
Do you know, I think they need a leader. It's been going on for so long. I know maybe the manager, they're looking for it at the end of the season. Maybe that's the only time he can come in, but not good for players. No. I think they need to know who's in charge. And Peter Leavin, obviously, he's doing best he can. They brought in Tony Docherty, but players being what they are now, they just need to know who's in charge, and there's still so much uncertainty there.
And they're a huge club. I mean, they are a big club. They've got crowds of 18,000 regularly there. Jamie, it's just not. And Cormac, the owner, has put in Dave Cormac fortunes, but he's not getting the return.
No, and not appointing a manager now is almost like saying, right, forget about this year, which isn't great for everyone, players or fans. I know they're still in the cup, obviously got the game tonight, but you look at them in the league, it'd be difficult for them to get top 6. They're going to have to win their games in hand, plus a few more. They're kind of saying, well, maybe let's just get to next year.
Yeah, they've got 2 games in hand, so they're along with Dundee United. It is remarkable, isn't it, in some ways. The new firm are down there on 28 points, so the 7th and 8th position. Then Dundee on 24. Aberdeen play Dundee this weekend. St Mirren on 23. Killie on 20. And Livingston on 12. We'll give you the team news fairly soon. We're just looking out for the Aberdeen and for the Motherwell team for tonight's kick-off. Andy, we'll bring it as soon as.
I mean, even just reading the latest about Aberdeen, they're maybe going to be forced into a rethink because the deal with Eric Horneland has become complicated. Yeah. So, players just need to know who's in charge. They want to play for a certain manager. They want to know what sort of training they're going to be getting, who they approach if they want to be in the team, or everything like that, especially with so many different nationalities.
Brian's been on asking, Jamie, how are you doing? How's the recovery? So it's a groin injury. So are you back running yet?
We're back on the pitch, taking it slow, and there could be a big end of the season for Ayr United. Hopefully there's a few things to play for, so don't want to rush it too soon. But yeah, feeling okay. Yeah,
playoffs obviously you'd be really disappointed, I would imagine, if that didn't happen for you.
Yeah, it's been an aim all year. Obviously they start the year aiming to finish first, get that automatic place, and if it's not there, you go up via the playoffs. That's how it's got to be. Even though how difficult it is to get there, we've seen last year Livingston actually do it, so it gives other teams confidence that it can be done.
St Johnstone top of the table after 24 games on 49, then Partick Thistle on 44, Arbroath on 37, and then your own Ayr United on 32. You've got a game in hand, so that would take you just 2 off of Arbroath if you win. Then Morton on 30 after the win last night, Dunfermline on 29, Wraith Rovers 29 as well, Queen's Park on 24, Airdrie on 23, and anchored at the bottom, Ross County on 22. Your opponents this weekend?
Yeah, it's been a tough season for them. Changed managers.
Stuart Kettlewell back there.
But Kettlewell back in there, I think they're hoping that he brings a bit of stability to them. But you seen his interview at the weekend, he wasn't happy with them, so you're expecting them to bounce back of some sorts.
Andy, the Championship.
I'm amazed at Ross County falling, but I mean relegated in the playoffs last year and now sitting at the bottom of the table. And I thought when they appointed Tony Dockery, it would be a good sign. I thought he was unlucky to lose his job at Dundee, but just didn't work out. And I know they paid decent money up there. Roy McGregor certainly not getting value for money this season.
He sure isn't. I mean, in Ross County, remember at one point they were talk of would they be top 6?
Yeah.
During the season. It wasn't a bad season for a long time, and then it just all went wrong in the last few months, and they ended up, as you said, in the playoffs.
It's a slippery slope when you get into that habit of losing games. We always talk about the habit of winning and last minute winners and all the rest of it, but when you're losing games more often than not, very difficult to turn it around.
Okay, team news coming in. Do you want the Motherwell team? I'm sure you do.
Yes.
So, Matty Connolly, Tom Sparrow, Paul McGinn, the captain, Liam Gordon, Stephen O'Donnell, Oscar Priestman, Lucas Fadinger, Elijah Just, Regan Charles Cook, Tawanda Maswinisi, the top scorer in the country, and Björg Golson up front as well there. So on the bench, Ward, McGee, Slattery, he starts on the bench, Nicholson, Watt, Ross, McAllister, Longolo and Said. So, Andy, a few changes?
Yeah, it was Callum Ward is Callum Ward playing tonight? Is he the goalkeeper?
He's on the bench.
He's on the bench. Well,
so
it was Callum Ward who was in at the weekend, so that's certainly a big change. I wonder what's happened there.
Regan Charles Cook, joint top scorer just a few years ago, and he could help them towards this. Well, they'd love to be third top of the table, certainly to stay in fourth position.
Slattery was in great form at the weekend. Maswanisi was always a threat. As you say, bringing on Regan Charles Cook, he did so well for the goal. Sam Nicholson came on, and he too did really well for the second goal, getting to the byline, firing in that cross that got them that 2-goal advantage, and they deserved it. They deserved to win by at least a couple of goals.
Teams often make changes to the goalkeepers in the Cup, and Aberdeen have done the same. Bradveit is in goals, and there's Devlin, Milne, McIntyre, Frame, Shinnie, the captain, Cameron, Milanovic, Keskinen and Nisbet. So, and on the bench, Mitov, of course, the regular number 1, Heltner Nielsen, Balakovic, Palaversa, Olasanya, of course, the ex-St Mirren player, Malloy, Lazetic, Aramu and Loban. So,
I think I watched Kevin Nisbet at the weekend. He was the he was the captain, and of course he's been around the Scotland squad. You would think he would really want to start scoring a few goals between now and the end of the season to give Stevie Clarke a hint that he might be one to take to the World Cup. And of course Shinnie back after being suspended. I know he got sent off against Kilmarnock recently, and he missed the game at the weekend, and I think they missed his influence.
I think talking about the Scotland squad, I think you're maybe looking at a player like Elliot Watt pushing his way in. Mm-hmm. I know he's not playing tonight, he's given a rest, but he's been excellent so far this year. I know he's played the youth teams and whatever, but it's a World Cup year. Everyone should be pushing for that Scotland place. Whether you're going to get there or not, it's another thing, but it gives people real motivation.
What do you make of Lucas Fadinger? He's very much liked by the Motherwell fans. Hugh was on, he mentioned him last night as a standout player.
Yeah, he's excellent, and he's done so well. And I think he's one that you can look to for a good, solid 7, 8 out of 10 level of performance. He's had a terrific season.
Paul McGinn described as Baresi last week in the programme. Was that you, Jamie, that said that?
It might have been.
Yeah.
No, I'm not sure.
Yeah. But what a player, what
I've
a
called
career.
him worse.
Yeah, and Stephen O'Donnell in the Rangers game was outstanding. In fact, there was a call last night from a Motherwell fan saying, could he come back into the squad, Stevie Clark, for the World Cup?
I wouldn't rule it out. Stevie Clark has turned to players like Stephen O'Donnell and the likes of, who am I thinking of? Andrew Considine, remember? He got a game for Scotland, and Gallagher, Declan Gallagher, I think, was playing for a while. So I think he looks at players. You're talking about maybe he goes to so many games in Scotland. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a name that we're not too familiar with that makes the squad.
Jamie, scoreline tonight, what do you think?
I can't see past Motherwell winning. They've just been so good to watch, and I'm hoping for a win. Let's go for 3-1.
3-1 for the Well. Andy, what do you feel?
Yeah, I'm going for a narrow win. 1-0 for the Well.
Really? And I'm saying really in the context of to do it twice against the same team. Celtic couldn't do it against Aberdeen. I mean, remember, Celtic were brilliant.
This is Aberdeen
were abject in the league game just 10 days before the cup final. Aberdeen won it.
Well, this is Aberdeen's best chance of a successful season. That they've been so poor and they're not going to make the top 6. I think the current top 6 is pretty much settled, as is the bottom 6, obviously. But it's been a poor season for Aberdeen, and they'll want to try and get back to Hampden to save some face.
Billy's on saying, Paul, you said Aberdeen are a big club. Yeah, they're a big club in Aberdeen, he says, in the North East. So Billy's a Rangers fan who regularly contributes. But Jamie, he's just not getting a return on it. Is that a thing tonight? The manager, it's the Joe manager, isn't it? It's Peter Leaven alongside Tony Docherty saying, look, there's the trophy. Show them it. Do you want to lose this tonight?
Yeah, again, it's motivation. Do you want the rest of the season just to peter away and not play for anything? Or do you want to have something to aim for the next couple of weeks, at least for the next round, and then get through that, and you never know what happens. So it's motivation for them, yeah.
Luke's on saying, Maswinisi, can they hold on to him next season? And are you surprised he wasn't snapped up by Rangers or Celtic during the January window?
Well, no one had heard of him when he first came in, and he's made a big impact. Obviously, I think Celtic and Rangers had a look at him, but didn't think he was going to add to the strengths that they had. It remains to be seen if he can still score regularly between now and the end of the season. He was a great threat at the weekend, I thought. A bit unlucky not to score on a couple of occasions, but he's also a team player. I mean, there was one effort he had. He picked the ball up on the halfway line, and within the next 4 or 5 seconds, he was having a shot at goal. That's the type of player that he can make things happen out of nothing. So Motherwell will do well to hold on to him. Whether it's Celtic or Rangers, I'm sure there are a lot of clubs interested in him.
Is he more suited to the Scottish game? And he's not the tallest striker, is he? You know, so in England, for example, in the Championship, he's quick, quick. Which is a big thing, pace. Yeah. But he's not the tallest striker that you would expect. If he goes to a Championship club next season, they've got so much physicality. Yeah,
definitely. Would it be more difficult for him down south? Yeah, I think so. But if Motherwell are getting offered the money that they think they're going to get offered, or was rumoured in January, then I think Motherwell would sell him. I think he's done well for this season. Again, like Andy said, nobody knew who he was before the start of the year. That's credit to Motherwell's recruitment, bringing him in. Can they now sell him on for profit? And if offers like what we're talking about do come in, I think he will go.
Robbie's on an Aberdeen fan saying he wants Bertel Askew for next season. Get it done, get him up there. And they do pay really big money at Pittodrie, don't they? I mean, I think after
I think Motherwell fans would be gutted if he left Motherwell to go to Aberdeen. And I agree. Happy, are you? I agree Aberdeen are a bigger club, but for what he's done with Motherwell, and then the chance of European football, that's the big attraction for the Motherwell manager for next season. I'm sure Motherwell will be playing European football, and then what can you do at that level? That's a great challenge.
That's true. They've also got players, they will have to sell. I mean, Maswanisi or whatever. I don't think they have to at the moment with the Lennon Miller money, but they're suddenly getting an ecosystem, Jamie, that means they're investing money. They'll get money for Maswanisi and some others as well. Maybe Elliot Watt, yeah.
Players will want to play for them.
Yeah.
They'll look at players like Maswanisi and think, oh, that's a club that I could go to and move on. They're not going to hold players against their will. If he wanted to go for good money and everyone's happy and everyone's making a profit or whatever, then he would go. And again, for young players, it's a place that they'd want to play as well. You're going to get chances. They've got a great youth system at Motherwell. There's always players coming through. So at the minute, things change quickly in football, but at the minute, Motherwell's a club that looks really appealing for a lot of players.
Jimmy in Uddingston is saying, guys, who's going to win the cup then? Take it away from Rangers or Celtic. Right, so it could be either of them, but if not them...
Yeah, I'll go for Motherwell.
Go for the Well.
I went for the Well in the League Cup. They get beat at the semi-final stage, but a tough one for them tonight. I mean, they've made a few changes, as have Aberdeen, but always difficult to play against the cup holders. They'll remember the memories that they had about winning that trophy. They want to do it again, but if Motherwell can go up there and win, I think they're favourites to get to the semi-finals again.
Jamie, what do you feel?
Yeah, I'd love Motherwell to go out and win it. It's been too long, really, for their fans. I was part of a few teams that got to finals and semi-finals and things like that, and we never quite got it over the line. So, yeah, it'd be a real, not relief, but it'd be a real rewarding thing to see them.
You would like it to happen. Do you think it will happen?
I think there's every chance. I think it's probably a better chance this year than some others. They are pushing towards the top of the table. Everyone's not frightened to play them, but they're not a pushover. Rangers and Celtic and Hearts I'll definitely look at their games against Motherwell and think, oh no, that's going to be a difficult game. So you never know.
See the Ackies had a win last night, staying in Lanarkshire. What a terrible season for the last couple of seasons. You really feel for them. Turmoil at the club, but still managing to get some wins despite that massive.
Well, you just hope
deduction.
They can survive. Yeah. They've been deducted points left, right, and centre, and it's a bit broken at the moment, isn't it?
Second bottom of the table after 24 games, but of course the points deduction there on 20 points. Celtic Hearts on 15. Above them, Cove on 22, and Cove, and above them it's Montrose, and then Peterhead. Top of the table, Inverness, and then Stenhousemuir, Queen of the South, and Alloa. But Jamie, it's such a tough time for such a proud club, the old Ackies, but it's the toughest of times if they can survive.
Yeah, I mean, there seems to be a different points deduction every other month at the minute, which is difficult, obviously, for them and their supporters. But you really hope that things start going up for them. I mean, I'm not quite sure of their situation. They were talking about administration, all this kind of stuff. So you're hoping that they can get it together. Whether that means they go down and get things sorted and start working their way back up, or still a chance for them to stay up this year.
From the Ackies, we hear from Danny Röhl, we hear more from Martin O'Neill as we count down to the Europa League action tomorrow night. That's coming next.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King.
Looking forward to, the coming days. Tomorrow night, it's Europa League action at Celtic, who went all the way to Seville in 2003 under Martin O'Neill. Could it happen again this time? Martin O'Neill has been speaking ahead of the game with Stuttgart tomorrow night, and he was reminded of his 1,000 games as a manager in Britain, and he's going to be honoured tomorrow night by the League Managers Association. And he's the chair of it, of course, isn't he? But it's an amazing milestone, 1,000 games.
Well, two things. One, it's a real surprise because I'd never counted the games, genuinely never. When the LMA told me yesterday about it, it did come as a big surprise to me. It's nice to do and it's really pleasing. But I have to thank Celtic for doing it. Otherwise, it wouldn't have happened. It's nice.
And you couldn't have imagined it to happen, with Martin O'Neill. And at the moment, everyone's saying, it is phenomenal. I mean, he's really combative when he was manager at Celtic, Aston Villa, Sunderland or whatever, Ireland as well. But it's a remarkable story.
Truly remarkable. I mean, I can remember him having all that energy, first time around when he had such an impressive side and up against such an impressive Rangers side when the quality of football was magnificent week to week, and he's come in as well, just the sheer breakdown of communication with Brendan Rodgers and the Celtic board and the way that he left. And when he came in initially, you thought he might have stayed a bit longer, but they were determined to give Nancy a shot at it. And with it, had they kept Martin O'Neill at that point, if he'd been there from that period till the end of the season, I don't think Celtic would be 3 points behind at the moment. They wouldn't have dropped as many points in those games that Wilfred Nancy did. But anyway, he's joining Alec Ferguson, I'm thinking Davy Moyes, Arsene Wenger, people of that ilk who've just been around for so long. And it's just a wonderful achievement.
And it's amazing, in 2026 we're still talking. I mean, if you're away in the moon or something, come back, Jamie, and you switch on what's happening in Scotland. Here's the Celtic manager, Martin O'Neill. It still surprises you.
It does, yeah, for someone of an age that he is, to be out there still showing energy, still showing he still loves the game, and he's still got a passion for it. It's great to see.
And tomorrow night, you reckon, just scoreline, what did you ask you earlier on? What do you think?
I think Celtic will win. I think. I know Ross said earlier that maybe they could change a few and rest a few, but again, Celtic's DNA is to try and win these games, so I expect them to go out and do that.
Andy, what do you feel?
Yeah, just never surprised at Celtic winning in Glasgow, that's for sure. It will be interesting to see what sort of atmosphere there is, because that does help players. I don't really go along with the fact that it gives a bit of fear to the opposition. I mean, you're up against international class players who've been in very noisy and intimidating stadiums beforehand. It's just part of their makeup when you're a top player at that level. But you would always want the best type of atmosphere, and I think if the stadium is rocking tomorrow night, Celtic will have a better chance of winning. And
at the back, is it Scales along with Trusty again? Trusty, he's hot and cold, isn't he? And he had a tough time.
Yeah, he is. I mean, when I think of one of the last Europa League matches away from home, who were they playing? And was it the two?
Bologna.
In Bologna, when they got the 2-2 draw. And I thought he was outstanding. I mean, Bologna were a team that threw in crosses every time they were in the wide area. They didn't need to get to the byline. So many crosses coming into the box, and I think that's where he excelled. Trusty, I thought he defended really well that night. But you're dead right. He's had a few mistakes since then.
Is it concentration, maybe?
No. It's I think it's just it's in his makeup, and sometimes he's on top form, other times he's not. He's been very up and down this season.
And Liam Scales had a clearance that he should have booted it right up the park, as the guys mentioned last night, Jamie. Listen, it's easy when you're watching from the stands or watching on television, but tomorrow night, do you think they'll go with Scales alongside Trusty?
I think so. I think Trusty's performances in Europe have been better than they have been in the league. I think Scales is pretty consistent. I think particularly, I know he played a lot under Rodgers, but he's been doing well under Martin O'Neill. I know he was asked to do something different under Nancy, maybe break forward, and he was the one putting balls in the box, crosses and stuff like that, which probably isn't his game. But as an out-and-out defender, I think he's a really good player for Celtic.
Rangers then, a number of days off, and it's probably ideal. I mean, listen, I've got two thoughts on it. Sometimes you want to play, as Rangers did in 2022, 4 seasons ago. Remember, Jamie, they were playing on all fronts.
Yep.
And actually, they played extra time in Europe, and they came back and played really well against Celtic.
Yeah, it can work both ways. I know teams look at others and say, they've had a rest this week or whatever, and then the team that's playing comes out and seem to be ahead of the game. They're more ready to go because they've had a game only a couple of days before. So I don't think there's an advantage either way. I think every game probably taken on its own merit.
You're strong and you're fit when you're winning games, and I know the games come thick and fast, but it's only when you lose one or two that got a wee niggle or tired. Maybe not as fit as I thought I was. But
and that's just
winning
mindset,
games.
A lot of that, isn't it?
Yeah,
exactly.
Winning games is what it's all about.
And probably Martin O'Neill can get the best out of them, along with Sean Maloney and the rest of the backroom team. Over at Rangers, let's hear a bit more from Danny Röhl and about mentality and about the run that they're on after the disappointment against Motherwell, but they bounced back against Hearts.
Speak also about the group. I think when you conceded an early goal, comes a little bit from nothing. Yeah, we invite them, we make a mistake, and then the reaction was straight. Okay, we want to come back. We stick what we want to do. Then again, yeah, the second conceded goal was a typical Hearts game, Hearts goal, long ball, second ball, in behind, cross ball. In this moment, we didn't defend well, but again the reaction was great. Yeah, and then the second half, I think we did a fantastic goal, also different goals. We showed a good character, and I liked to see this. And I saw also not just character, also on the tactical side, on the football side, was one of the best games since I'm here.
Jamie, that was then. That's gone. That's banked. The points, they go from the top of the table to the bottom of the table. What danger do you see at Livy, much as Rangers would go in as racing favourites to win?
Yeah, Livingston are a funny team this year in terms of them at home. I think the change of pitch hasn't helped them. Right. I think
the better surface.
Surface, as you would say that. Teams used to worry about going to Livingston, having to play on the old AstroTurf as it was. But now you're looking at it and it's of a standard that's good enough for the league, in my opinion. Teams go there and they pass it, they can move the ball quickly. It's not like it used to be. It used to be slow and ball was bouncing and things. So I think Rangers going there will win and win comfortably.
And if they didn't, it would be nothing short of a disaster, wouldn't it, Jamie? They couldn't contemplate.
I mean, Livingston have won one game all year.
Sure.
I mean, to go there and not just to not win the game, but to lose would be beyond a disaster for Rangers.
Andy, any
can't
danger?
see Rangers slipping up. No, Livingston they must be one of the worst teams that I've ever been in the top flight. Yeah. I mean, to have played 27 games and only won once. It's not good.
What about St Mirren? The fans must be beginning to get worried. They're at the wrong end of the table. They're showing no signs of coming out of it.
And I think the fact that Kilmarnock showed such a lot of spirit last week against Celtic, unlucky not to win or maybe even get a draw, and the fact that they did so well against Aberdeen recently, beat them comfortably, so they've got a wee bit more energy about them. And just the 3 points. I mean, obviously, St Mirren have got a better goal difference by 8, but 3 points in it. And I don't think Dundee are out of trouble yet as well. So that second bottom spot, Kilmarnock, St Mirren, Dundee, it could go to any one of those three.
And yet St Mirren, 3 years running, Jamie, top 6. Not going to be this season though, is it? Although they've got that trophy there, the Premier Sports, the League Cup.
They have, and it's really important that they stay in the league this season, because I think St Mirren fans would take that. I think, if we can go, all of these teams that are not so-called the top teams, if you offer them a chance to win a trophy and stay in the league, I think they all take it. I think they all bite your hand off for it.
Jackson asking, is there an outstanding player so far? We're not yet in the territory, Andy, of asking. I'm not going to ask you every week, but of an outstanding player in the league so far?
In the league, I mean, I think you've got an outstanding team in Motherwell that have caught a bit of surprise. Obviously, Hearts have got all the headlines. The players they are missing at the moment, Shankland and Devlin, I think they've been the two best players. For Rangers, I don't know who's been the outstanding player for them. Is it Tavernier again? Still talk about him maybe staying or not staying next season, maybe getting another contract. If it was up to me, I would give him another contract. I think he's been extraordinary value for money, and I think there's a bit more in him to give.
Jamie, what's your feeling about James Tavernier out of contract in May, June?
I think he's earned the right to decide. I think he's been there long enough, gave everything for Rangers, whether some people think it's enough or not, has gave everything for his last, 10 years?
Yeah, 10 years, that's right.
More than that. So if he decides it's time to move on for more money, or move on to go back down to England, obviously where he's from, or to stay, I think he's earned the right to decide.
And the final minute, is it wins for the top 3 this weekend, or Celtic players? Hibs, what do you think, Andy?
Yeah, I think Celtic can do that. I mean, Hibs have obviously got a decent goal threat whenever Martin Boyle's up there. I know they've got a bit of money in for Kieran Bowie, but Celtic at home, you just fancy them. I know it wasn't a great performance against Livingston. They got the job done in the end, but you would imagine a home game against Hibs, they're now aware that every potential dropped points, draw or loss, absolute disaster at this stage of the season.
A Celtic win, Jamie, or are you going for Hibs, team?
No, I think Celtic will win. I mean, will it be a difficult game?
Sure.
Probably, yeah. But I think Celtic will come out.
And Hearts to beat Falkirk or not? What do you think?
Yeah, I think Hearts will win as well. I know, just saying that because it's easy, but yeah, Hearts to beat Falkirk.
The top three to win?
Yeah, I think they showed at Ibrox that they've got a lot to offer. Still really good from middle to front, and they certainly won't be up against a forward like Chomiti at the weekend. I think Hearts will beat Falkirk, yeah.
Tomorrow night I'll be here with Mark Weedy and James McPake, and hopefully talking about a great game up at Pittodrie tonight, and you both reckon it's going to be the Well.
Oh, here's hoping the Well will do it.
Yep, here we go.
Thanks so much to everyone who was on tonight. Thank you, James. Thank you to Gary and to everyone who's been on. See you tomorrow night at 5.